So I want to talk about something that's been happening in the background of the internet. Not the part everyone's looking at, not the algorithmic part, not the trending tab, not the fight over which platform is dying faster. This is something slower, quieter. It doesn't ask for your attention, it just waits. And if you notice it, it lets you in. I'm talking about the quiet internet renaissance. Not the old web exactly, not nostalgia for 2005, not even GeoCities cosplay. I mean the real thing, people making websites again, not for clout, not for content, just to exist somewhere. Digital spaces that feel like bedrooms or notebooks or secret attics. Places with no comment sections, no monetization plans, just presence. And 4 platforms I want to talk about in that space are Midnight.pub, Zonelets, Melonland, and the others orbiting in that strange, soft glow of the indieweb. Let's start with Midnight.pub. The name itself conjures up a certain mood, a sense of quiet, of late-night introspection, of being awake when the rest of the world is asleep. It's a place that feels both intimate and a little mysterious, like a hidden corner of the internet that only a few people know about. It's probably the most poetic of the bunch. Midnight.pub is less about broadcasting and more about reflecting. It's a space for people who want to write for themselves or for strangers who might stumble across their words in the quiet hours. Midnight.pub isn't a platform in the traditional sense. It's a digital bar, a gathering place for thoughts, confessions, and midnight musings. There's no pressure to perform, no audience to impress, just a gentle invitation to share what's on your mind. The idea is that everyone has their own page, their own journal, and when you post something, it shows up on the public feed like you just walked into a quiet bar at midnight and said something out loud. It's a little like leaving a note on a table for someone else to find, or whispering a secret into the darkness. There's no images, no likes, no replies, just words, raw and simple. It strips away all the noise and distraction of modern social media, leaving only the essence of what you want to say. The tech stack is minimal, Gemini protocol underneath, though you can access it on the web too. And that limitation is part of the point. It's intentionally pared down, almost stubbornly so, to keep things focused on the writing itself. No HTML, no embedded anything, just plain text. It's almost like using a typewriter, but with the ability to share your words instantly with anyone who cares to read them. You open the bar, you type what you're thinking, and then you leave. That's it. There's a certain ritual to it. A sense of coming and going, of leaving a trace and then disappearing back into the night. No performance, no reaction metrics, no pressure to be interesting. You don't have to worry about followers or engagement or whether your post will go viral. It's just you and your thoughts, and that's enough. And in a time where everything online feels optimized to keep you talking, scrolling, producing, something about that feels revolutionary. It's a quiet rebellion against the noise, a place where silence and solitude are not just allowed, but encouraged. Midnight.pub is for people who have something to say but don't want to shout. It's for digital ghosts, for those who want to linger in the margins, to write without expectation. And being one of them, even for a moment, feels like a relief, a gentle exhale in a world that rarely stops to breathe. Then there's Zonelets. It's a project that feels like a quiet corner of the internet, tucked away from the noise and clutter of modern platforms. Zonelets is different. It's not a site you log into, it's a generator. There's no dashboard, no notifications, no endless feeds to scroll through. Instead, it gives you the tools to build your own space, on your own terms. It's for people who want to blog but don't want to deal with blogging software. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the complexity of modern content management systems, Zonelets is a breath of fresh air. No WordPress, no plugins, no databases, just plain HTML. You don't need to worry about updates breaking your site, or plugins conflicting with each other. It's as simple as it gets. Zonelets gives you a lightweight framework. It's like a set of bones you can flesh out however you want, without any unnecessary extras. You write your posts in simple text files, and it generates a small site you can upload anywhere, neocities for example. There's a certain satisfaction in seeing your words become a website you control completely. What I love about Zonelets is how unopinionated it is. It doesn't force a look or layout, it's more like a skeleton. You can make it as minimal or as expressive as you want, and there's no algorithm nudging you in any direction. And when you use it, it feels like writing in a journal. You're not posting, you're documenting, you're leaving a trail for someone to find later. It's a slower, more thoughtful way to share your ideas. And the fact that you have to manually upload your updates makes it feel slower, more deliberate. You're not just firing off takes, you're building an archive. Each update is intentional, and you're reminded that your words have weight. And the kind of people who use Zonelets tend to be people who care about that kind of permanence. People who write not for engagement but for expression. They're not chasing likes or shares. They're building something lasting, something personal. It reminds me of the early days of blogging, before monetization was even a concept. Back when people wrote because they had something to say, not something to sell. Zonelets is quiet by design, and that silence makes space for real thoughts to echo. In a world that's always shouting, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is whisper. Next is Melonland. Melonland is a community, but it's not quite like any online community you might be used to. It's not a platform with algorithms or a social network with endless feeds. Instead, it's something much more personal and a little bit magical. It's not a platform or a social network in the modern sense. There are no likes, no trending hashtags, no pressure to perform or go viral. Melonland is a place where you can just be yourself, without worrying about followers or metrics. It's more like a neighborhood, a digital cul-de-sac where people gather, share, and connect in a way that feels genuinely warm and familiar. Imagine the feeling of walking down your street and waving to your neighbors, except it's all happening online. At the heart of Melonland is a forum, Melonland.net, where conversations unfold slowly and thoughtfully, not in a rush to keep up with the latest trends. But that forum is just the beginning. It's connected to a vibrant constellation of neocities sites, personal homepages, and experimental web projects. The whole ecosystem is a celebration of yesterweb aesthetics and creative design, where everyone is encouraged to make something weird and wonderful. The forum itself is deeply old web in feel. There are avatars, custom signatures, and a sense of playfulness that's hard to find elsewhere. It's a place where your personality shines through in every post. Threads have weirdly long, often hilarious titles that invite curiosity and laughter. You'll find topics like "What color is your soul today?" where people share their moods in creative ways, or just check in with each other. Or threads where people post their cursed GIF collections, swapping the internet's strangest and funniest images just for the joy of it. Melonland isn't trying to be efficient or optimized. There's no rush, no pressure to keep up. It's a place where you can slow down and enjoy the experience. It's trying to be fun, cozy, and a little bit strange. The vibe is whimsical, inviting you to embrace the odd and the imperfect. Melonland reminds you that the internet used to be about hanging out, about spending time together, not optimizing, not selling, not networking. Just vibing, just being present with others. And the people on Melonland carry that vibe forward. They're not just users, they're neighbors, collaborators, and friends. They build sites with cursor trails, blinking stars, and hidden MP3s. They talk about dreams, share their thoughts, and encourage each other's creativity. They share screenshots of their desktops like their bedrooms, showing off their digital spaces with pride. It's incredibly sincere and refreshingly honest. And yeah, it can be a little chaotic, a little clunky. But that's the charm. The imperfections make it feel alive. It's not frictionless, it's human, and that's what makes it special. Melonland is one of the few places online where people genuinely treat each other like neighbors instead of followers. It's a reminder that the internet can still be a place for real connection, creativity, and community. So what ties these three together, Midnight.pub, Zonelets, and Melonland, is that they're all parts of the quiet internet. Not just because they're small or text-based or old school, but because they don't demand your attention. They don't notify you. They don't push. They don't track. They just exist. And, you can come visit them when you want. And when you leave, they don't chase you. And that's rare now. The mainstream internet is always chasing, always poking, reminding, pulling, trying to keep you scrolling just a little longer. But the quiet web doesn't care if you forget it. It'll still be there when you remember. There are other places like this too, tilde communities where you shash into a shared server and make a homepage like it's 1997, personal directories full of hand-picked links, gopher holes and Gemini capsules, weird little web rings that loop infinitely. Every one of them is a small act of resistance, a reminder that the internet doesn't have to feel like a mall or a casino. It can feel like a library, or a forest, or a dream. And what's beautiful about this quiet renaissance is that it's not centralized. There's no one leader, no one platform, it's a constellation, and everyone's building their own star. It's not about going viral, it's about going weird, going personal, going small, and in that smallness, there's a kind of honesty that I haven't felt in years. I think a lot of us ended up here because, well, something about the current internet broke us. Or, maybe we broke it, maybe we were just too much for it, too slow, too messy, too sincere. And so, we found our way to these quiet places, these HTML diaries, these digital attics full of dead links and glowing buttons and weird CSS tricks. And we started to build again, not for profit, not for fame, just to build. And when I look around at the people making these sites, it's not just web devs, it's poets, artists, weird kids, ex-academics, teenagers who missed the early web but crave it anyway, people who just want a space that feels like their own. And that's what this is really about, ownership, not in the capitalist sense, not in the Web3 sense, but in the emotional sense, a place that reflects who you are, not who you're trying to become. So yeah, there's a quiet internet renaissance happening, and it's not loud, it's not trending, but it's real, and honestly it's growing. And if you want in, you don't need to ask. Just make a site, post a thought, join a forum, upload a text file. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. And maybe no one will see it at first, maybe no one will ever see it, but it'll be there. And that matters. It matters that you made it, that you carved out a little space, that you lit a candle in the dark. The quiet web is calling, and it's not asking you to go viral, it's asking you to show up, as you are. Broken, honest, bored, brilliant, whatever. Just show up and build and keep building. That's all it takes, that's all it ever took.